I walked away from a man who gave me everything. And now I sit alone in a small, quiet apartment that echoes with silence, a place that feels more like a stranger's guest room than a home. There's no one to call, no one calling me. My name is Dana. I'm 42 years old, and I used to be loved in a way most people can only dream of, but I threw that love away because I convinced myself I could find something better, because I believed I deserved more. Michael was never the kind of man who made grand gestures. He wasn't loud, wasn't flashy. He was steady, solid, the kind of man who took my car in for an oil change before I noticed the light had even come on. The man who'd notice we were out of my favorite cereal and pick it up on his way home without me saying a word. The man who kissed my forehead each morning, no matter how tense the night before had been. He loved me in the quietest, most consistent ways. We were married for 17 years. And for most of those years, I was content, genuinely content. We built a life that was far from glamorous, but it was real, filled with mortgage payments, kids' soccer games, late-night movies, and little arguments about laundry and leftovers. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. But somehow, I lost sight of all of that. Or maybe I just grew restless. One day, a co-worker casually remarked how safe my life seemed. I laughed it off, but that word stuck in my mind. Safe. I used to think that was a good thing. But suddenly it felt small, like a box I needed to break out of. And then came the scrolls through Instagram. Pictures of women sipping wine on rooftops, wrapped in luxury, faces glowing with adventure. I started comparing. I saw myself, still in Michael's hoodie, folding laundry late at night, hair tied up, tired. And I began to wonder, is this all there is? That's when Jason came along. He was everything Michael wasn't. Sharp, confident, magnetic. He noticed me. He saw a version of me I hadn't seen in a long time. Said I was too smart to live quietly. Said I had fire. And I believed him. I wanted to believe him. What began as casual lunches at work turned into text messages, late-night calls, whispers I couldn't bring myself to share with Michael. Secrets, at first thrilling, eventually heavy. Guilt bloomed in the quiet moments. Then one night, I came home and found Michael waiting on the couch. He looked tired, worn in a way I hadn't seen before. His voice was calm, almost tender, when he asked, "Is there someone else?" I couldn't speak. I didn't have to. The silence gave him the truth. I packed a bag and left that night. Told myself I was chasing freedom. That I deserved to find what else was out there. That I owed it to myself to start over. Michael didn't argue. He didn't beg. He just looked at me like I was already gone, like he was grieving someone who had died. "I hope you find what you're looking for," he said. And just like that, I walked out on the man who gave me everything. Jason was thrilling at first. There were weekends away, late nights filled with laughter and electricity. But after a while, the sparks faded. He liked the version of me that fit into his world. Carefree, spontaneous, no baggage. But he never really saw me. Not the real me. He didn't remember how I liked my coffee. Didn't notice when I was quiet, or when my head hurt, or when my heart was breaking. And now, I sit in this apartment surrounded by silence, with no one to share my day with, no one to check the oil in my car, or kiss my forehead good morning. I traded 17 years of devotion, of quiet, beautiful love, for a fantasy that vanished the moment I reached for it. If you're still reading, type 17, because that's how many years of real love I gave away, chasing something I didn't even understand. He never truly saw me, not the way Michael did. Jason didn't care about what made me me, the things that made me laugh, the quiet anxieties I carried, the way I hummed when I was deep in thought. One night, after I confided something small but vulnerable, he looked at me flatly and said, "You're a lot." That was the beginning of the end. He stopped calling. No fight, no explanation, just silence. The thrill was gone, and so was he. In the hollow days that followed, I tried reaching out to Michael. I called. I texted. Nothing. Eventually, I realized he blocked me, not out of spite, not to punish me, but to protect himself. Because loving me had broken him, and forgetting me was the only way he could begin to heal. I reached out to old friends, people who once cheered for us as a couple, who had seen how deeply he loved me. Most had already picked their side. His. Some were gentle, others weren't. They asked, "You had a good man. Why wasn't that enough?" And the truth is, I didn't have an answer that made any sense. Because sometimes we don't walk away because something's wrong. We walk away because we're chasing some imaginary version of more. Because stillness starts to feel like stagnation when you don't know how to appreciate peace. I thought chaos might fill the emptiness. I thought fire would feel better than warmth. But all it did was burn down everything I had. 2 years have passed. I live alone now. The walls of this apartment don't echo with laughter anymore. Just silence. My kids have grown distant, guarded. My phone barely rings. I fall asleep each night staring at the ceiling, whispering his name like it's some ancient prayer, hoping that somewhere the wind might carry it to him. But I know it won't, because I stopped believing in miracles the day I stopped believing in what I had. I had everything. Now I have memories and regret, and the endless echo of what if. Sometimes when I scroll through Facebook, I see him, Michael, smiling now, hiking through mountains, kayaking across lakes. There's light in his eyes again. He looks happy, genuinely alive. And there's a woman beside him. She has soft eyes and a kind smile. Someone warm. Someone who didn't confuse his calm for dullness. Someone who understood that consistency is just another word for devotion. And I smiled too, because he deserved that kind of happiness. I just wish it had been with me. So if you're sitting beside someone right now who doesn't shout, who remembers your favorite things, who quietly shows up for you without asking for recognition, hold them close. Don't go chasing the noise. Don't confuse ordinary with unremarkable, because one day you might find yourself staring at the ceiling too, haunted by the quiet you once walked away from. I walked out on the man who gave me everything. And now, no one wants me, not because I'm unlovable, but because I stopped loving what truly mattered. Now I live in the quiet wreckage of a life I broke with my own hands. Alone, forgotten by the one soul who would have spent forever remembering me. If this story stirred something in you, if your heart aches even a little, comment 17. Share it with someone who might need to hear it before they trade everything for nothing. And never forget this. Sometimes the love that looks ordinary is the kind that stays. The kind you'll miss for the rest of your life.